I'm Michael Wagener. We're here in Paris recording the band Cockpit, and I just want to go over the microphone setup for the drums. So let's start down there in the kick drum. We have a dynamic microphone in the kick drum to get just the attack of the beater. Then we have a ribbon microphone just outside the kick drum to get all the bottom end and big sound of the drum. The bottom mic, the ribbon mic is on an angle, and maybe John can tell you why we're doing this.
Sure, I'm John Jennings with Royer Labs, and the reason that you angle the 121 in front of the kick drum is because if you were to, at that distance from the front head, that's a lot of pressure, a lot of low energy pressure, low end pressure, which could stretch the ribbon. But if the ribbon is leaned at 45 degrees, the hit is distributed down the length of the ribbon and it doesn't stretch it. You can record like that for as long as you'd like, and you get a very nice kick drum sound without damaging the ribbon. Also, the ribbon microphone rejects sound from the sides, but also from the top and the bottom. So when it's straight up, it can hear the toms and the cymbals, but when it's leaned forward 45 degrees, it isolates the cymbals and the toms from the kick drum track. So you're using the polar pattern to get isolation.
On the snare, we have a Mojave Audio MA100. It's a condenser mic, a small diaphragm condenser mic, and we're using that because we want to get the crack and the attack of the snare. That's why we're using a mic that enhances the high end a little bit. And it's placed very, very close to the snare, so it also gets a little bit of a proximity effect, so we get some bottom end as well. Moving on to the hi-hat. On the hi-hat, we're using a Royer 122 ribbon microphone, and we're using it with the backside pointing to where the hi-hat is being hit. The backside on the 122 is just a little bit brighter, and so it picks up a little bit more high end. Also, we have it placed so the figure 8, where the microphone doesn't pick up, points towards the cymbal, and also towards this end. So it doesn't pick up the cymbal, but it picks up the hi-hat nicely without having too much other stuff in there.
Right, if the microphone were positioned pointing straight at the hi-hat, you'd have the cymbal coming in the back side.
Because it's a figure 8, so it picks up from those two ends. But here, it's completely dead.
Right, turn it like this, the cymbal just goes away, but you still get a nice hi-hat pickup.
On toms, we used dynamic microphones because I didn't want to pick up too much else in the drum kit, and wanted to be close to the toms and just pick up the hit of the toms. We also put microphones underneath, which are also dynamic microphones. So they are set out of phase, out of polarity, obviously, because the air pressure goes down. This mic, it goes away from this mic, but it goes towards the downwards mic, and so they're out of polarity to make it one complete sound wave again. They're mixed together on one track, and the bottom mic is basically used for the low end, just to get the boom out of the tom, and that happens on both toms. Also on the snare, I forgot there is a microphone underneath. We used a 100, did we? Yes.
Yep,
yeah,
MA100.
we used another MA100, and it's the same system. That's out of phase as well because of the same situation. That one will be picking up just the rattle of the snare, and later on, so to not get the rattle from a kick drum hit in there, we're going to be gating the bottom microphone and keying it with the top snare. Onward to the right cymbal. We got the right cymbal here, and it's a Mojave MA200 tube condenser, right? Yep. I'm saying that right. Okay. That microphone has a very nice, smooth top end, and so we wanted to get that on the right cymbal to get the nice attack on the right cymbal. And I like to have the right cymbal and the hi-hat on separate tracks because it's groove, so I can bring them up or down later in the mix as much as I want. Also, this microphone is set to cardioid.
Yes.
And then, so it doesn't pick up stuff from the back as much, no reflections, and it concentrates on the right cymbal. For an overhead microphone, I love to use the Royer SF12. It's a stereo ribbon microphone. It has a very nice, smooth top end. Sometimes people think ribbon microphones are dull. I don't think that's the case because the top end is all there. It's just not enhanced. With a condenser mic, sometimes the top end is enhanced in the microphone, but in a ribbon mic it's not. And since it's already a stereo mic and the capsules are set at an angle, 90-degree
Yes.
angle, you get a beautiful stereo picture. You know, you just have to make sure that your snare is in the middle of that picture. Otherwise, every time he hits the snare, if it's on the side, your sound kind of like goes over there. But if the snare is in the middle, you got a nice stereo picture. It also, I tend to filter out some bottom end later. You can put in as much or leave in as much as you want or as you think sounds good. It will pick up the whole kit. The one thing to be aware of is that it's also a figure-8 microphone, so it means we have also it picks up from the back. So it's very good to have something soft, non-reflecting on the ceiling, and get more of the cymbals down here. Then we have the room mics, which I like to use Royer 121 microphones, ribbon microphones again. The word Royer will implement. It's a ribbon microphone. So, and we have them spaced towards the corners of the room, and that will later on be used to give us a little bit more depth in the whole drum kit. It doesn't have to be necessarily in the front, left, right. I just have like 2 different reflections from different walls, and it'll open up the drum kit to the back. There's another Mojave Audio MA201 in front, about, what is it, 6 feet, 5 feet? In front of the drum kit, very low on the ground, so it gets the reflections of the floor. And that microphone is heavily compressed going to tape. I call it tape, but we're recording on a digital recorder. It's heavily compressed, and most of the top end has been taken out on the way to the recording, and that will give us a lot of punch, and through the compression give us a lot of the room sound as well, which opens up the whole drum set to the back and to the front. There's one more room mic, which is outside. When I walked into the studio, I fell in love with that long concrete hallway, and we're using a Royer R122V. It's a tube ribbon microphone, or ribbon tube, however.
Tube ribbon, yeah.
Yeah. And we left the door open when we were tracking, so the drum sound came all out there in the hall, and we picked up the room sound of the hall, which was amazing. I mean, that made the whole drum sound big and nice. And we used a ribbon mic on that, and it's pointed away down the long hallway, which in this case, you know, it records from both sides. It's probably, it doesn't really matter where it's pointed. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You know? But it gets, again, since it doesn't do much to the sides, it doesn't get the reflections off the walls. It gets the long hallway and the long echo from the hallway. It sounds amazing out there. It's this studio is a great studio to record drums in.
When we walked in, we literally just went, wow, started clapping in the hallway and said, we've got to use this.
Yeah.
We wish we could have set up the drums out there, but there are other sessions going on at the same time. But opening the door was a great idea.
Yeah.
You know.